Hey guys! Today's drawing for the 14th prompt of the Magical Mansion challenge is a wyvern building his nest on the rooftop. If you imagine this challenge like a little house tour, we have now already arrived in the garden outside. And I decided to make the intro for this video a little different, because I wanted to show you the traditional sketch of this painting first. I didn't film the sketching part because back when I drew this, the channel didn't even exist yet. I really love sketching with colorful pencils, like the ones that have multiple colors in them, because you can either just see which color comes out randomly, or you can twist the pencil whichever way you like and draw with a specific color. Like you can see in the sketch I made earlier, the wyvern is a different color than the rooftop, for example. And after the sketching part, I then usually take a picture of it and import the picture into Procreate, lower the layer opacity and lock the layer, don't skip this step. And then I start sketching on a different layer on top. So for the part where I draw the scales, usually I would copy and paste them after a while and then liquefy them into the right shape. But I have made bad experiences with that in the past, because sometimes it just doesn't match the shape right. So for this drawing, what I tried to do instead was drawing these guidance lines to make it easier to see where the scales would be attached and where they would bend around the body. And for the most part this worked pretty well. I just had to take a break every now and then from the scales and draw some of the leaves, for example, just to keep my sanity. And then for the roof I copy and pasted most of the parts because it's faster and it also looks better that way. By the way, I'm sorry if you hear a lot of background noise. I have a few pets in my room right now and they just can't stop eating for some reason. So you might hear them in the background. Yeah, so I kind of already started the coloring process in grayscale, even though I wasn't quite finished with the sketching part. And I guess that's okay, because of the rest of the sketch would just be more copy and pasting of the rooftop. And usually when I paint in grayscale I start with the background, that's light gray, and then I paint in flat colors. I should probably also mention that you should usually color everything in flat tones to see if you like the overall values. I didn't do this step simply because I am impatient. And after that I just paint in light and dark shades, and I often use a lot of layers for this. Instead of reducing the opacity on the brush, I reduce it on the layer, and at some point I start merging some of these layers to keep track of everything. Because if I were a person who actually named layers, I would have like 20 layers that just say gray shading or gray blending. It's really just an endless cycle of drawing, picking colors, reducing layer opacities, and sometimes merging the layers. I will just let some music play from here and return with the voiceover when the coloring process begins. Now for the coloring process, I have a color palette for this entire challenge, but it still ended up looking a lot brighter than some of the other artworks. But I think it's fine because, you know, it doesn't take place inside of the magical mansion and it's directly outside. And also I feel like the entire style of this is a little bit cuter and more on the childish side than the rest of the illustrations. Coloring over grayscale is definitely something that I'm still working on. I have done it a few times before this challenge, but it's not how I usually work. And I just try different colors and different layer modes, so the color kind of blends with the grey artwork underneath. But I still struggle with this a lot, because I feel like the more coloring layers I put on top of the illustration, the more cloudy and less refined the artwork underneath appears. And so usually I end up drawing a lot of the details again on top of everything, so they just look sharper again. Also, I feel like this would be a fun illustration for a postcard. Let me know if you would be interested in that. I'm planning to make this entire project into a little scene anyway, so I can't wait until all of them are finished and I can get them printed and hold them in my hands. It's always such an exciting feeling. If you like this challenge, you can check out the rest of the drawings on my channel or just subscribe for the next ones. I think there are only 2 or 3 left after this. And after that we are free to experiment a little more. I definitely want to do some drawings of my OCs and maybe some book cover artworks or story illustrations and probably also some style studies. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I hope you have a great time until Halloween. The drawing for tomorrow's prompt will probably just be edited into a short because I am already a day late. But I will do another talking video on Halloween and maybe even show you a few things that I'm planning to do on Halloween. So until then, goodbye.